Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how the Enlightenment and its ideals really influenced the rest of the world. Today we're going to focus on the era of revolutions, which we'll talk about, which I'll expand on in just a second. And tomorrow in class, what we're going to talk about is how it influenced the art world. Okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about is the age of revolutions. What happens in the late 1700s is influenced by the Enlightenment. There are several key revolutions that take place in the world. The first of these is the American Revolution. The American Revolution and the colonist revolt from Britain become a hallmark in the world, okay, a hallmark in world history. In 1776, when we officially broke our allegiance with Great Britain, that marked, hey, we're taking the ideals of the Enlightenment, we're taking these questions of government, the idea that men have a say in government, the idea that everyone is equal, the idea that men have certain rights, and when those rights are violated, they have the ability and even the duty to break apart from their government. That's what the American Revolution did. We were the first country, the first region to really do that and implement all of those ideas into one. Those ideas are not unique. They were not new to America, but they are unique in that we applied them all kind of at the same time to our government and to the principles, philosophical foundation behind our revolution from Great Britain. Well, following our revolution, and in fact really heavily influenced by our revolution, was the French Revolution. We'll spend more time on this in the early parts of next week, but the French Revolution was pretty dramatic in that it broke away from the ancient regime, and the people of France said, hey, the American colonists are doing it. They're really not very different from us, so we're going to take this age of logic and age of reason, and we're going to apply it to our life. Turned out very differently in France than it did in the United States, or what would become the United States, and we'll explore that more later. So let's first of all talk about Thomas Jefferson and the American Revolution. Thomas Jefferson plays obviously a very important role in the American Revolution in that he is the author of our Declaration of Independence. We're going to read the Declaration of Independence tomorrow. And the way I want you to think about it is he takes John Locke's notion that we have certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and property. Those are the big three that Locke said. And he said government has a duty, an obligation to protect those rights. And if government stops or ceases protecting those rights, life, liberty, and property, then it should be overthrown. Well, Jefferson turned it and actually made it just a little bit different. And he obviously, as we all know, says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And in his initial drafts of the Declaration of Independence, he actually says property, but he changed it to pursuit of happiness. So the Declaration of Independence 1 says government has obligations to fulfill these rights. And more importantly, that when government no longer protects the rights of man, these natural God-given rights that we all have, then it should be overthrown. Well, not only was the Declaration of Independence a product of Enlightenment thought, but so was the structure of our government. Our government was really heavily influenced by two things. One, Rousseau's idea of the social contract. The idea, and Locke's as well, the idea of a social compact, that government exists between a compact or contract between the people and the government, is really instituted in our Constitution. The idea of what's called the general will of voters having a voice is implemented in our Constitution, in the structure of our government. Not only that, but Montesquieu's notion that the power of government, the three significant powers of government, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial, should be divided out so that they do not conflict and do not give one person or one group too much power, are seen in our Constitution. The Enlightenment ideals that we all have certain rights, that we are, because we are humans, are guaranteed certain things, is seen in our Bill of Rights. Freedom of speech, as supported by Voltaire. Freedom from religious persecution, as supported by Voltaire, is seen in our Constitution. And these rights are given to us, and there are many others from guys that we don't really spend a whole lot of time talking about, or any time talking about, that are given in our Bill of Rights. And we're going to read that tomorrow. And we're going to see just what are the rights that, and how did the Enlightenment influence us. The Enlightenment lays the foundation for not only the philosophical or ideas behind our government, but for the actual structure of our government. The independent parts of our government are not unique. It is the combination that James Madison and the other framers of our Constitution and Thomas Jefferson and the ideas behind our revolution that make us unique. And they were very heavily influenced by the Enlightenment. Y'all have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.